joining us before your show in Eindhoven tonight, part of your 2019 World Tour. Thank you very much for taking a few minutes.
Oh, come on, Charlie. The pleasure's all mine.
I appreciate it. A couple Charlies hanging out. It's pretty fun.
That's right.
And you know, we talked yesterday, and something struck me. You were talking about getting into the traveling life before even you started performing as a street performer. And you said it much cooler than I'll say, but I'll paraphrase kind of what you said. You were looking for an alternative to the cookie cutter, choices you're given in life, and that something, to that effect. It really struck me. Talk a little bit more about that. Not wanting to maybe, do what everyone else is doing.
Yeah, well, it was partly being a contrary individual, being rough around the edges, getting it, and also getting into trouble and stuff. It just gave me an outlier's perspective on life. Once I started hoboing around, one of the things I learned was that even although you may be sleeping in a park or sleeping on somebody's living room hardwood floor without a blanket, that you followed these people home from a bar or something, the thing that I learned really quick was that the sun still comes up in the morning. And that may sound like nothing, but to me that was everything. I said, oh, okay, so I can go my own way. I can kind of sidestep all these, kind of rules. There's true rules of the Creator, and there's also man's rules. And sometimes you got to decide which ones you're playing by, and sometimes you don't have a choice. But for me, recognizing that, especially in my youth, in my late teens and in my 20s, I lost my fear associated with the security of trying to have this job and hold on to this apartment and this car payment and these credit card bills and all this stuff that you supposedly, need to do. Once I let all that fall away and realized that the sun was still coming up the next morning, I lost a lot of the fear, and that's probably where I really started to change, and really believe that I could build up something like this, and without, having, some kind of financial backer or some kind of contacts in the business. Instead, I just took it straight to the folks on the street.
Yeah, and I think, whether it's as a musician or whatever your passion is, I think that's something very relatable for a lot of people. That desire to maybe do your own thing, do what you want, create, whatever you're passionate about. But then the willingness to do it and kind of sacrifice and what it takes to make it a reality is, I think you nailed it, fear for a lot of people. So it's a tough one. We're so, I think, ingrained into, okay, this is how we live, right? Got a house, got a dog, got a car, got a job. And it's not everyone can kind of step out of that. You credit your upbringing, or just how do you think? Not everyone's going to go do what you did, especially. What do you think gave you the strength or the courage to do it?
A lot of it was circumstances, most definitely. A lot of it was circumstances. I grew up pretty poor. Not that needs to be the reason or anything, but I was raised by a single mother who was really having to work extraordinarily hard to make ends meet. And I think any young man being raised by a single woman, maybe that alone will gives you a different perspective right there. So that had a lot to do with it. And also, and other things, like I said, I got, I had a lot of run-ins with the law. I had that'll affect you.
There wasn't a moment, though, you think, where you were like, you know what, forget trying to do it the cookie cutter way. I'm doing it my own way. There wasn't like a moment you remember, or it was just more developed, like because of your circumstances over the years, you think?
My mama got me this guitar out of a pawn shop when I was turning 18. It's an old Honer guitar. in Irving, Texas, and she gave it to me. And she must have known I was going through a lot because I didn't know how to play that thing. Boy, I was terrible. I really was. But I spent all my time, right after I got that guitar, I spent all my time on it. And I guess once I got that guitar, and I was getting more fulfillment out of playing that thing, even if it didn't sound very good, than I was out of trying to, I worked a lot of manual labor type stuff on the side when I was hoboing over the years, helping people out, doing day work, farm work, stuff like that. I've always liked working with my hands. I've always liked being outside and stuff, and I really like to work. My mama instilled a serious work ethic in me. She also made me unafraid to sing as a young man. Very young as a child, we just sang together all the time. Nothing formal, but whenever you got your parents or whatever, or older siblings or something that are encouraging you to sing when you're real young, kind of didn't have a fear for that, and I think I kind of built it there. And then by the time or so I'm coming to be a man, 17, 18 years old, and I guess it was between. I think when I looked at my options in society and the position that I saw myself in, I didn't see any future for myself looking in that direction. But through the music, I did. Even at first, I wasn't even making money and stuff. I was just playing my guitar, traveling around with people. Even that by itself gave me a type of, I was already different than other people, and that alone opened up some doors for me.
The music.
Yeah, and then not long after that, I started getting, playing, like I said, playing in the park, got money. I wasn't even trying to make money at first. I just got money given to me. Sitting in a park trying to play, figuring, hey, this is nobody. I can play here, this is the one place that I'm allowed to be. And then from there, I made a few bucks, and I started realizing. Then I started trying to play on the street corner and stuff, and you'd either be dealing with loud traffic, or like some lady calling the cops on you because you're bothering her up at her upstairs window in her apartment, or the cops running you off, and in like New York City particularly. That's what drove me down into the subways. And then as soon as I got down to the subways, the cops wasn't bothering me anymore. And of course, the spots that you play in that are worth a lot of money, there's a lot of competition to hold them spots down. And it wasn't like I just stepped into that money. No, sir. Had to fight for them spots, and I lost almost all the time at first. But even standing on them empty, boring subway stations that nobody was playing at, I at least making $5, $6, $7 or something after over some amount of time. And that made it so that I didn't feel the need to, steal a little something out of a grocery store or whatever, So having $7 to like pay for the $2 train fare and maybe buy, a burrito or something, that can make a hobo that's just living off the kindness of strangers feel pretty good. So once I started being able to make $30 every time I sat there and stuff, that that's a lot more money. And then in New Orleans and stuff, in New Orleans, I started learning to sell CDs, even if whatever I recorded on the CDs wasn't very good, just because that alone would make you more money. And I started learning how to talk to crowds, heckle them a little bit, get their attention, goad them, ask them for money, tell people that took a picture of you that pictures cost $1, and they would, it would work a lot of times. Anyway, just stuff like that, and so maybe I learned a lot of the stuff that would make you an entertainer or stage performance skills and stuff. I think while the street may not seem like the place to do it, I think it actually is a type of environment that would teach you how to do all of that stuff kind of all at once. If you can keep it together, make it pay, find places to play, gain respect among the other performers, learn to sell CDs, get a band of other people to follow you, be fair with the money, know how to, and then I parlayed that into start getting on stages in New Orleans with blues bands and stuff, and half the time my little thing would work, half the time it wouldn't, or whatever, and I just built that all the way up to here. In fact, all these guys in this band are pretty much all through, the organic way that I kind of come up into the bars, got a really good band together in the bars. The agent in Nashville heard about me through the grapevine and stuff, and you know, I've been out here, you know, there's a direct line. I guess the moral of the story is I learned over all these years how to stand behind my guitar. Okay. Yeah.
And last thing, I know you got a show to get ready for, so I
Yeah.
won't keep you too much longer, but a recurring theme in your music, and you told me on the phone yesterday too, you like gambling, and the gambling aspect of not only life, but in general. So what's your game? I like poker. I like playing no-limit poker, but you like gambling on what? Anything and everything?
Oh, no. Well, no, you said it. Like, I don't like playing it. I don't like casinos because you're playing a game that's made to lose. It's set up for the house. So is society. And in society, I have gambled here, I've gambled in Spain, I've gambled across Paris and France, and my whole life in America, you know, like, that's the gambling. Like, the house is built for you to lose, but you do have to gamble, especially if the casino is the whole world. You know what I mean? And I believe that it is. Anything I've ever read in a history book has led me to believe that it's a big old casino. Perfect. You know?
Yeah, I think it's a good analogy.
Yeah.
About it.
Come on.
Anything else?
No, that's it, man.
All right.
I really appreciate talking to you, Charlie.
Man, it's been really a ton of fun. I love your music. I'm really looking forward to the new album, The Valley, and other autobiographical tunes.
You like that?
I do, and it was September 20th. That'll be out. I played The Valley after we talked yesterday on the phone, and I was like, hey man, this is just what he told me on the phone.
That's what I'm saying. You ain't got to talk to me.
Yeah.
You just listen to that song or there's several of them like that.
Yeah, it's a good
So I told him, talking to another cat the other day and getting asked the same questions a lot, and I told this dude, I said, if everything I just told you doesn't make any sense, my whole deal is in the valley. 6 verses or whatever.
That's good stuff. So thank you very much. Continued health, happiness, success, and keep winning the game, man. Gamble big and win big.
Thanks, man. I sure appreciate you. You gonna come to the show?
Oh, heck yeah.
Oh, good then.
I'm
All
here.
right, I'll be twice as good. Cool, man.
Yes.